Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingvelt Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, Simjack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often. Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome to a brand new season of the American Muscle Series on Slow Motion Broadcasting. J.R. Gregory here with you on the call alongside Andre Dirt Grandbouche and tonight's producer, Joshua Wilkie, and we are delighted to partner with AMS to bring you their 10th season of competition in the Ford Mustang FR 500S. And if you're unfamiliar, this car was developed to compete in Larry Miller's Ford Racing Mustang Challenge back in the day. Features an all-aluminum 24-valve V8, putting down 325 horsepower. And although somewhat limited by the technology of the time, that FR 500S has a die-hard following and should produce an excellent series of racing. And this season kicks off with a pair of 20-minute sprints at Imola. The Enzo and Dino Ferrari International Circuit is located outside Bologna, Italy. Opened in 1953, originally as a motorcycle track. This iconic track is current host of Formula One, the World Endurance Championship, and European Le Mans Series. Today's configuration, 3 miles, 4.9 clicks, 19 liberally numbered corners, a current record of 1:15.484 set in 2020 by Sir Lewis Hamilton. And Andre, with these competitors looking to strut their stuff and establish themselves early at Imola, what are you expecting tonight?
You know, the first race of the year is always pretty interesting because I feel like everybody's getting used to each other. You know, sometimes you get new faces to a league. Sometimes you just kind of forget how the competition is. So it's always a bit of a wild card. Then you take this different format. I don't think we've ever done heat races or sprints, as they're going to call them, in this league. So that's all new to these guys. The format is going to work as follows. The first sprint race, which is going to be 20 minutes, will set the grid for the second. Points will be awarded for both races, though. So both races are going to matter. They're both going to count for points. It's going to be interesting, and given the lap times, look at this, JR. 2:01.239 currently is the pole sitter, Kevin Parrish. It was a Barrios, going to be 2:01.344, so all these lap times up front, very close together. Some good competition early in the season.
Yeah, getting around there pretty quick, and looks like about the top 7 racers so far here in qualifying, with 7 minutes down, 3 minutes to go. Our top 7 within about 1 second, so pretty tight up front. And you know, I think there are some things about these Mustangs that are going to be favorable at Imola, and sometimes you get out here in formula cars, prototypes, or other stiffly sprung cars, and it's kind of a fight dealing with the curves. But as we look at that on board right now, as Parrish running over those curbs, floating like grandma's Cadillac. So I'm thinking that these Mustangs will have a much easier time dealing with some of these curves, and there's another great example of that. And coming up here in a second on Variante Alta, one of the most brutal combination of curbs for a lot of cars, and I'm betting that this Mustang's going to eat it up like a speed bump in the parking lot, and there you go. So it's be pretty interesting to see these cars tackling the circuit for sure.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about this league. These cars are about as graceful as an elephant. They really don't do a whole lot very agile. So you take him to a narrow track like Imola, one that was, as you mentioned, designed for motorbikes. These things are a far cry from a motorbike. So then you take 37 of these things, standing start down into turn one. It is always extremely exciting. And the action is, you don't have to look far to find it, but qualifying remaining exciting as Jose Barrios still P2. Taylor Bellant coming back from his good performance last year, currently sitting at bottom of the podium for quals. Neil Kemp P4. Look at Mark Cohn, the first among the Challenger division, going to be P5, just a few tenths off of, well, now P6, gets bumped down by Schnackle. And I
Yeah,
believe that. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, Cone looking good out there. And if you're just joining us for the first time, 3 classes of competition here, as shown by the different colors there on our timing tower. And taking a look at Cone, just lost 1 position, but P1 in his class. And you see that blue marker. He has got a number of the top class pro racers behind him. So Cone looking very good right now. It looks like he has got about 3 tenths back to Thompson, his next closest competitor in his own class. So Cone putting on a good show here early, and maybe in danger of moving up next season if he keeps this up.
Yeah, he's been on the rise. He came in as an amateur last season and had a really good year. A lot of really good finishes. Maybe should have had a better year. He got involved in some incidents that weren't really his doing. Took him down a little bit in the points, but we knew he was fast, knew he was quick, moved up into Challenger, and now on his way to becoming a pro. A little bit further back, there is some more challengers in the grid. You got Matt Thompson, Levi Powell, Charlie Hosey, all in the Challenger division, all inside the top 10. That is going to be qualifying. It is set. Kevin Parrish is going to go ahead and take the first pole of the year, but only just barely.
Yeah, and as we watch the iRacing universe kind of pop over there, you see the light falling off. I don't know if we're looking at sunset here or not, but of course, no real lighting here at Imola. So any kind of darkness out here is very, very challenging. I've done a few sports car races out here in the dark, and it is definitely a handful. And let's go ahead and show you that grid. It's going to be Kevin Parrish, as mentioned, lined up in row 1 next to Taylor Bellant, Jose Barrios next to Jeff Schnackle, Neil Kemp next to Mark Cohn, aforementioned, in 5 and 6. Then Chuck Labano next to David Moore. David Fench will line up to Fabian Zweyer in 9 and 10. Matt Thompson next to Levi Powell in row 6. And that takes us to Andrew Belling next to Charlie Hosey. Jay Bass will line up next to David Fernandez in 15 and 16. Brennan next to Jeff Andres. Mark Royce next to Ron Wolf gets you to 20. Have a huge grid, 37 cars out here. Ed Sechinelli will line up next to Brian Kennedy in 21 and 22. Matt Malone next to Mike Nickham in 23 and 24. Gazenda next to Sicchetti. Bell next to Kosick. Weaver next to Besnard will get you to P30. Then Dave Blair next to Colin Olson. Brooks next to Smith. Merle Eschman next to John Casey. And maybe one more. Yeah, looks like Tom Want. I'm probably saying that wrong. Frito Sport driver there in P37. So we're going to get this one underway in just a couple of seconds. Looks like iRacing will force the start in about 20 seconds. And standing start here, and no nannies, of course, on these cars. So job 1, get off the line cleanly. Make that long dash down the pit straightaway and get them woed up and drive carefully through that turn 2. Turn 1, of course, this little kink here in the middle of the straightaway. Turn 2, the entrance to the Tamburello chicane. And how many yard sales of race car body parts have we seen in Tamburello? And hopefully these guys can get through clean. And the flagman looking a little lazy right now. The clock's still running. We should have, my timing tower is still running, showing 2:30. We should have seen a green flag at 2 minutes. So we may have a little server problem here as the crowd, as the audience, and as the drivers wait for the green here. And so far, no lights. So your guess is as good as mine. Now's a great time to talk about Chiba Hut. toasted subs. And if you know that song, you can go ahead and sing that quietly to yourself. Chiba, Chiba. If you remember that one, I'm showing my age right there. That is from the 80s, but we may be getting underway here in a second. Josh, my producer, it's wishful thinking, waiting for the lights, and here we go. We are underway, and as I said, no traction control on this grid. A cloud of smoke, and that long dash down the pit straight into turn 2, the entrance to the Tamburello chicane. And here is where we hold our breath, folks. This could get very ugly very quickly on cold tires. No ABS, as we said, and so far so good. The field getting through Tamburello very well. One car off, that might be Cone there, hitting the kitty litter, and all the way out to the Senna Memorial there. Ouch, maybe you wanted a better look at the flags and flowers out there. But overall, pretty good start for such a big field.
Yeah, I think it caught a couple of drivers off guard there when the start was forced. I don't think they knew quite when the green flag was going to come out. That might have been why we saw the chaos we did. But Martin Cone, I believe, was off the track. You are correct about that. There's Charlie Hosey a little bit further back. So far, so good. A little bit of chaos early, but now we're getting single filed out. You see that number 16 Greg Biffle tribute scheme. We've seen that in Discord a couple days ago. Looks very good on this Mustang, and I guess they're going to dive down into this downhill left-hander. One of the trickier corners on the track. Not ready for it, especially in a big pack, but they're going to navigate it pretty well. It looks like through the uphill left-hander into the next corner. So far, so good for leader Kevin Parrish, but look at this. Taylor Ballant putting the nose to him. He is looking for an opportunity, looking low, looking high. Through the corner, taking the tight apex. Ballant has these corners figured out. Not quite going to have the door open up yet. Not going to open it himself. Going to be patient here in the opening portion of this race, but this is a battle that I think the viewers should get used to. We saw a lot of it last year, and I think, JR, we're going to see more of it this year. Ballant and Parrish, they have put on some good shows together in the past, and same old song and dance.
Yeah, absolutely. Only about
big incident. Sancinelli.
Yeah, looks like Sancinelli, we have lost him. Looks like he went a little wide there in Ravazza into the kitty litter, and another little kiss there on the exit of Ravazza 2 for good measure. We'll go back and see whether or not he had help there. It is possible to make a little dive there on the entry to Ravazza into Ravazza 1 and pull off a move there. So may have been some contact. We'll go back and oh my goodness, and we got some more, another visitor to kitty litter there. That may have been David Fench overcooking that entry to Tamburello, and so easy to do, Andre, when you're hauling the mail down that long pit straight. You can miss your brake marker there so easily, and you saw the result of that right there.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times when this league comes to Imola. That is a tricky portion of the track, but that was a little bit of a body check there, I think, from that blue Mustang, and it was just a bad incident gone to worse for that Frito Sport machine. I'm going to try to get a different angle of it here.
Elbows out there, and I'm certainly not a steward around here, but that may not have met the definition of leaving space there on the outside with a hard hip check into the kitty litter. And back to live action, taking a look at Andrew Belling. He's all over Swayer ahead, Labano behind these cars, running nose to tail. And if you take a look at our timing tower, those orange or amber intervals are intervals less than half a second. Then yellow is 0.5 to 1 second. So and white is longer than a second. But that whole timing tower, for the most part, painted up right now. These cars running nose to tail, and a great preview of the action that we're going to see this year in American Muscle Series. And man, look at those. Some great looking liveries out there, and sometimes when I'm calling one of these races, I imagine myself standing trackside and hearing these Ford aluminum V8s screaming past, and bet that would be pretty sweet as we see somebody taking a pit there. Not sure what is going on there. Maybe a penalty involved. There's no fuel stops or anything like that required, so maybe looking at a penalty there for Ballant.
Yeah, that's got to be a penalty of some sort. I'm not sure what for. Maybe he jumped the start ever so slightly, or maybe something happened there on the track that the stewards themselves deemed to be a stop-and-go penalty. But from what we saw on camera, it's hard to tell. We will keep everybody updated if we find out what exactly is going on, but that's a shame because that was the second step of the podium, given up to Jose Barrios now, 2 tenths of a second behind the leader, moving up by virtue of that. And Jeff Schnackle, the driver who qualified 5th, he bumped a few drivers down last minute. He's worked his way up to 3rd through all of this attrition. So Schnackle having a good start to the year. We know he's had a lot of speed and not a whole lot of luck. So hopefully this year he can have both. We'll have to see. Time will tell there. But currently the highest running Challenger Division driver is going to be Matt Thompson in the 133. I believe he just got promoted from amateur last year as well. I could be wrong, but running very well, top 5. Charlie Hosey going to be the next challenger back in P10. And Joe Cicchetti going to be the highest of the amateur ranked drivers back in P19 in that number 211. So just kind of your rundown of the different divisions where everybody stands. But it's been a really good showing for the challengers, JR. They are right up here with the pros, mixing it up, showing they've got the same, maybe even better pace at times. It's looking to be a pretty good season.
Yeah, they are definitely looking good. We've got 2 challengers in the top 10, Thompson and Hosey, as you said, running in P10. And oh, by the way, Matt Thompson has just thrown down the fastest lap of the race so far at a 2:02.163. And boy, howdy, that is about 7 tenths quicker than Parrish currently running in P1. So Thompson, another driver potentially in danger of moving up because he's definitely showing some pace. And you got to kind of feel for, gosh, who are we? What happened to our high running challenger that had the off early? I was just looking at him and I've lost him. But Thompson just kind of had P1 in that challenge class fall right into his lap due to another driver having problems out there. Cone, yeah.
Yeah, Cone's having a bit of a rough night. He had that lap 1 incident, and again, he goes off track. So not entirely certain what the cause of this pit stop is going to be. Maybe a penalty. Go ahead and take a look at the replay here. It's the number 16. Just a little bit heavy on the brakes. Rear end slides out. And seems like a fairly safe re-entry. Not too bad, but yeah, just a bit of a shame there for the 116. And here comes Matt Malone. Mr. Malone himself didn't know if he was going to show up this week. He was kind of late to join the session, but there he is, the fan favorite, making his way around the track.
Yeah, Malone looking good out there with that. Looks kind of like the IMSA livery with the pony on the side. Pretty sweet looking paint by Matt out there. Matt currently running in the pro division P14 overall, which would put him about P12 in pro. Just as we were mentioning Mark Cone, he rolled through the pits on another penalty, and poor Mark is down 27 after qualifying so well and getting off to a great start. Things have gone from bad to worse for him, now sitting in 33rd. Ouch.
Well, this is where this format might actually be a bit of a benefit to him because he's having a bad race, but, you're going to rack him and stack him. Unfortunately, he's not going to have a very good starting position in the next race. He's got another chance to score some points, but it's going to be a long way through the field, and it seems like you know this track a little bit better than I do, JR, but from what I've seen of this track over the years, it's just that overtaking can be really difficult. You got to be brave, you got to be bold, and I know that Mark, he's a safe driver. He tends to take it very easy, doesn't want to wreck anybody, doesn't want to wreck himself, but I think this track takes a little bit of aggression, and if he wants to get those positions here in Heat 2 coming up, well, might have to dial that up a little bit.
Yeah, and a hell of a fight here.
Speaking of aggression.
Yeah, there we go. That was Belling and Zwayer side by side into Tamburello. Oh my goodness!
No,
from bad to worse. There goes Labano with help, and he has spun off into the barrier. And I can't imagine that is anything other than terminal damage and maybe an iffy re-entry there into the Tosa hairpin. But things getting pretty racy out there. Elbows out. We saw a 3-wide entry there into the Villeneuve chicane, which is something you never see, and not at all surprised to see that one turn to tears.
Yeah, 3 wide on a motorbike would be kind of scary, let alone something that's about 6 times as wide. So definitely these guys are getting a little bit antsy. Early on we saw that patience. They got single file. They seem to be content with that. Now the shade has come out. Track grip levels have gone up a little bit. And, well, I think that patience is starting to fade about halfway through this first heat race. So seeing some 3 wide moves, seeing a big dive, unintentional more than likely from the number 119. Not exactly sure what the cause of that sudden dive was, but he kind of snapped to the side there.
Yeah, that's Weaver in the 119 car. It looks like he might have got a little loose under braking and got away with one there, probably with the help of drivers around him. That could have been ugly there on that entry into Variante Alpha, right along with Weaver now. And this is one of the harder braking zones on the course. And whoop! Going evasive right there. And that has got to be his slowdown. He was 4 wheels on the grass on the Variante Alta 1 there. And here is that business with Labano earlier, and quite a crowd of cars there as we're trying to go 3 wide there into Tosa. That turns Labano and sends him into the wall, and I'm not sure, I don't see that he's pitted. So he's still circulating out there in P14, but that cost him about 7 positions from his qualifying. About halfway through now, 9 minutes remaining in our first sprint. So 2 races here tonight on Slow Motion Broadcasting. So hang tough. The racing is wild out here with 37 of these Mustangs running around Imola.
Yeah, I got to say, for Labano, that was a bit of a no-brainer, because if it's not terminal damage, the car is going to be fixed for the start of Heat 2 by default. And wherever you finish in this race is where you're going to start that race. So you don't want to come down pit road, get the car fixed needlessly, and then restart in last place for Heat 2. If he can hang on to 14th, that is a whole lot better than starting P37 and suffering the same fate that Mark Cohn and a few others are going to be suffering a little bit further back. So he's just trying not to bleed too many positions. He did just lose a little bit of time there to Joe Sacchetti, who maybe smells some blood in the water, but currently riding on board with David Fernandez, another returning driver who's been here for quite a few seasons with the league here in his number 9 machine. He is following that number 211 pretty much bumper to bumper on the tow hitch. That's the way a lot of these guys have been racing tonight, just in the pack. And just ahead of these guys, that is Chuck Labano. So this 3-car pack, a lot to lose here for Labano if he can't hold these guys off. But doing a good job so far. A little bit further back from them, you got another breakaway. Mark Royce in that orange 114. You got David Finch in that green and purple machine, following Jeff Andrus there. But again, toe hitch to toe hitch. It is crazy. The confidence these guys have in each other, JR, every season. Seeing those brake lights come on at just about the exact same time and trusting they're not going to run each other over, well, it works out 99% of the time.
Well, so far so good, and the amazing thing to me is watching them fight for grip, especially under braking. You just kind of see these cars wallowing back and forth as they're trying to, track in a straight line under braking, and they're making it work. And you also see those butts wiggling quite a bit, trying to put the power down and struggling for rear grip as well. So these cars definitely a handful. It kind of reminds me of a here in Oregon, we have a great track, Oregon Raceway Park, and one of the things that we do between races is drive one of the tracks cars. It is a Cadillac, early 70s Cadillac. They call it the Radillac, and this kind of reminds me of muscling that thing around the track. Suspension a little bit soft. You have to really commit to a line, because any mid-corner corrections, the car is just going to ignore it and do what it wants to. And watching these cars just kind of remind me of that experience.
Yeah, and the car is definitely evolved on iRacing a lot over the years, and I think recently with this car going into, oh boy, big slide there. What was that? I believe that may have been, quite make it out, somebody a little bit further back. There's a yellow and green machine behind Michael Brennan is the car that got a little loose there. But as I was saying, with this car going into Legacy, it's not going to be subject to too many changes from here on out. Like, what they have is what they get. There's been periods where this car has had more grip, period where it's had less grip. And overall, I think this is pretty much where the car will remain. And some drivers may not like the way it handles too much, but at least they're going to have that stability going forward. They know what they've got.
Yeah, you're right, and as I mentioned in the lead up to this, a lot of fans of this car. As you can see, we've got almost 40 cars out here in our league race. Pretty well known streamer out here running with these guys. So very, very popular car. It makes great noises when you're inside it. You can kind of throw it around a little bit if it's possible to use that phrase, throw around with a car this size. But a blast to drive, and you see a lot of good racing out here. So you see why this car has built up the fan base that it has. And even though it is going into legacy mode, as you said, I'm imagining that leagues like this will keep this car alive going into the future.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the old Gen 4 NASCAR stock cars when they would go to road courses. It was so apparent that they really weren't built for road courses, but that's what made the racing product so good. And this car was built for a road course. It was just, not built very well for a road course. So it's why it's got a lot of fans. It is so different from any other sort of road car that you might see in the service, any sort of GT car. Those cars, they've got the ABS, they've got all that fancy technology. These things, not so much. They're basically a brick on wheels, and they race like it. That's what's keeping these guys so close. The skill ceiling is so high, and these guys continue to seem to find that ceiling no matter where it is. But speaking of ceilings, up front, Kevin Parrish with the number 69 machine. Well, he is under fire. Jose Barrios has been tailing him in second place, and I got to wonder, JR, is this a bit of a patience game? With him staying on the bumper, it shows he's got the pace, maybe a little bit more. Is he just waiting for that timer to go down and make that move when Parrish doesn't have the chance to get it back?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And it, Imola is kind of a slipstream heavy track, and I don't have a lot of seat time in these cars. Don't know how much of a tow that they get, but looking at that timing and scoring, it does kind of look like the cars are training up somewhat. So you may be exactly right. Barrios might be biding his time, not wanting to be in P1 on that final lap, saving a move to down the stretch. But we are getting to that point right now. Only about 2.5 minutes left. This is probably the penultimate lap right here. So we'll see the white flag the next time around. And look at that interval up front. Parrish from Barrios from Kemp. All three of those cars covered by about 0.7 of a second. And there goes Barrios. He's going to show his nose a little bit inside of Tosa. He doesn't want Parrish to forget he's back there, maybe trying to force a mistake here. And we'll certainly keep an eye on this action down the stretch. And meanwhile, that's Schnackle waiting to schnack on any misfortune that may strike these two if things get messy here up front.
Yeah, and it definitely could. Maybe being in the catbird seat for Schnackle is the place to be because, speaking of getting messy, there goes Barrios out of P2 and maybe out of P3. Might drop another one here. He is going to have to regain a little bit of speed, and that is indeed a slowdown. So we'll have to try to dial up a replay when we can and see exactly what happened there. But he was getting aggressive, trying to make the move last we saw, and then kind of pan away, and here goes that yellow car off the track. So now behind Jeff Schnackle, we will see what the cause of it was, but that gives Kevin Parrish a little bit of breathing room now, 1.1 seconds. That is as big as the lead has been so far all night long. So
yeah,
not a bad time to have breathing room, 18 minutes into this event.
Yeah, and as we were thinking, Schnackle just kind of was in the catbird seat here. And pro tip, kids, you don't have to attack all the time. And, little checkup there. And, I don't know. I might have to see that again. There might have been a little brake check action there. Barrios not expecting that and having to go hard on the binders. You saw him lock up the fronts and kind of wash out of Aqua Minerale there. And boy, oh boy, Parrish, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and Parrish certainly got rid of that attack right there. If he did check up a little early, boy, it sure looks like he did. I don't know. But anyway, up front, the white flag is going to be in the air here this time around. Parrish ought to be seeing it. And it's going to be Parrish from Kemp, from Schnackle, your top three. Then Matt Thompson still hanging around there in P5. He is going to have the Challenger class by a mile here over Jose, currently running in P11. The rest of your podium is Gazenda back in P18. Then it's Cacchetti from Weaver from Andy Bell in the AM class. They're running 16, 19, and 20 respectively. But as the first of two races here on Slow Motion Broadcasting winds down, and this has certainly lived up to the billing. We knew this was going to be a good one, and it has been fantastic.
Yes, it has, and I want to give a shout out to Matt Malone, racing his way up through the grid. He started a little bit further back, but now currently P8. He has really carved his way towards the front. It's going to give him a great starting position for race number 2. So he could be a contender for some serious points, maybe even a heat race win. If he can keep this pace up, he is tailing Andrew Bailing and Jay Bass, two of the most colorful cars in the field. Of course, the two cars I get confused the most often, they're right nose to tail, but that right there, Matt Malone getting off track, that's a scary moment.
Yeah, and Malone has definitely lit the wick. He is up 15 positions to his current position in P8. And guess what? He has also put down the fastest lap, 2 minutes, .790. And just glancing up and down, looks like Kemp is within about 0.2 of that. But Malone has that fast lap right now pretty comfortably. And here we go. That white flag is out. And where are we right now as we're watching the leaders roll through here? That is still Parrish from Kemp, from Schnackle, and Barrios kind of hanging around there, but looks like his tires may have been suffering through that hard driving that eventually resulted in that big washout from Aqua Minerale. But yeah, great stuff here in race 1, and you are definitely going to want to stick around for race 2. We will have a quick break, though, if you want to take a bio break, grab a beverage, whatever. So we'll have a break between races. A little more drifting back there from Barrios. Barrios is done. Those tires have said no mas for Jose Barrio, and he is barely hanging on. He's no pressure from behind from Barrios, but Thompson's hanging around back there about 4 seconds back. If he loops that thing, Thompson could get through. But here we are coming down the hill here, headed down toward Ravazza for the last time, and looks like Parrish is going to have this one from Kemp from Schnackle.
So it is going to be a podium for Schnackle, but race number 1 taken by Kevin Parrish. I think race number 2 going to be even better with some big names working their way up through the grid. It's going to be heavy competition up front, but yeah, looking forward to race 2. We're going to take a short break.
Yeah, the flag man has failed us. He failed us on the start and on the finish there. Our white flag was a lap late. That was actually the checker that we were watching and still calling as racing. But we'll have the results up for you here in 1 second. And Josh, do we have some? Are we going to have any words from our sponsors here during the break, or what are we doing? All right, here we go. So stand by. A quick word from our sponsors. We'll be back with your results and race 2.
Is the brake on your new pedal set not meeting your expectations? If so, let D-Nut Stuff transform your braking experience. D-Nut Stuff has brake mods for Thrustmaster TLCMs, Husingveld Sprints, Mosa SRPs, Fanatec CSL Elite V1 and V2s, SimJack Pros, and UT sets. We are always working on adding new pedal sets and more, so check back often. Does your feet hurt after a session of sim racing? Are you tired of the distraction from sore heels? If so, D-Nut Stuff has the solution for you. Our heel pads add support and comfort for your feet, so those long races are no longer painful. We can make a heel pad for pretty much any pedal set and even add your custom logo. So get one today. You won't regret it.
All right, and we are back about 2 minutes into our 5-minute warm-up. And, Andre, you've been calling these races for a few seasons, so why don't you tell me how that race hand out for you compared to past seasons? Is that about the kind of action that folks should expect this season out of American Muscle Series?
Yeah, that was, I would say, pretty par for the course. A lot of action early on and a lot of good racing, especially towards the end there with Barrios getting real aggressive with it, maybe a little bit too aggressive. That kind of action-packed racing, very typical for this league. But unfortunately, we just weren't able to call the exciting finish accurately because Barney the flagman decided to hold the wrong flag out there at one point. So,
Well,
either
and
way,
that and
it is. Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, Barney might have been visiting the Chiba Hut, so that sponsorship is potentially a double-edged sword here when the track marshals start lingering around the Chiba Hut for some of those toasted subs. But in any event, we'll be keeping an eye on Malone. As I said, he set the fast lap down the stretch here, and I'll tell you, watching what Malone did versus, for example, what was going on with Barrios makes me think that tire management may be a thing here. And I'll admit that I'm a little green calling this, but that kind of looks like what I saw down the stretch. Barrios overdriving those tires, having an incident, losing a couple of positions. Meanwhile, Malone picking his way through the crowd, picked up, 13, 15 positions and set the fastest lap right there toward the end. So Malone's tire management may be making a big difference for him compared to some of these other drivers.
You're exactly right. Tire management is a thing in this league, and maybe not quite as much tonight. I think it does definitely still play a factor, but next week when we get to our regular 40-minute races, it's going to matter a lot because a lot of these guys are not going to want to take tires. It takes quite a while to get the tires off and on of these machines. So they're going to want to use those tires maybe all throughout the entire 40-minute event. And by the end of it, we see cars skating around. You think that rear end's kicking out now, JR? Well, it starts kicking out even worse at the end of 40 minutes. So we've definitely seen some conservation come into play, even fuel conservation. These guys want to run it as far as they can on that initial stint so that they got to take even less fuel. And we have seen some drivers underestimate how much they need to take in that mid-race pit stop they generally make. So conservation is definitely a big thing, and I'm surprised at the wear that we were seeming to witness in this race, because usually 20 minutes isn't quite enough for the tires to go away like that, but I think you're exactly right, JR. It was fading. These cars looked worse and worse all throughout that event, just getting a little bit more slidey through the turns, and meanwhile, you had Matt Malone, who was just kind of seemingly taking it at his own pace, and by the end of that thing, he was just kind of cruising on through. So it'll be interesting to see. There was a lot of shade in that first event, so that definitely kept the temps down, but we'll see. We got the starting order for race number 2. Kevin Parrish on pole with that first race win. Neil Kemp P2. Jeff Schnackle is going to be inside row 2. Outside, going to be Jose Barrios. Matt Thompson P5. Jay Bast looking Jay Fast in P6. Andrew Baling going to be P7. We're going to be riding with Private Malone in P8, and we got David Moore in 9th. His outside, running out the top 10, it's going to be Fabian Zweier.
All right, that'll take us to Hosey in P11 will line up next to Michael Brennan in row 6. Then it's going to be Wolf next to Chuck Labano in 13 and 14. David Fernandez will line up next to Joe Cicchetti in 15 and 16. Fench next to Matthew Gazenda in 17 and 18. Then Freddie Weaver next to Andy Bell to round out the top 20.
And outside of the top 20, it looks like we have a green flag is who we have. As we are out of play. We are out of time. Barney catches us off guard for the third time tonight. Need to get a new flagman, I think. But here we go. Jay Bast on the bumper, I believe, of Barrios. Here comes Matt Thompson looking to the inside of Jay. It's going to be too wide for P4, single file first through third. And then behind fourth place, that is a Hornet's Nest. Look at that side by side as far back as you can really realistically see. They're going to make it through that corner a little bit better than the first race. Nobody in the sand, nobody getting the kitty litter, but Neil Kemp hard on the brakes. I think he cut a lot of slack right there, and getting on the brakes actually opened up the door for Matt Malone in that 83 car. He's going to get alongside now, so Malone looking to pick up another position, and that is Fabian Zweier in that silver machine. Don't count him out. We haven't talked about him a lot yet tonight, but Oh boy, we got 3 wide, 1 in the grass, JR, another 3 wide situation with David Finch.
Well, and that is looking like, totally fine among this group. We've seen a lot of trust between these racers, a lot of pretty good car control out here. So that's something that you see in a league setting where the same drivers come back season after season, get to know each other, and can drive with confidence like that. And that really showed in the first race and continuing to show now. And my goodness, you mentioned Neil Kemp absolutely swamped off the start. Kemp had qualified in P2, lost 5 positions, now sitting in P7. And the rest of the field pretty stable, no big offs so far. We mentioned Mark Cohn as well in the last race. Things went from bad to worse for Cohn in race 1, and he is already up. We said to keep an eye on him to make a move through the field. He's from P28 all the way up into P20 for +8 for Cohn.
Yeah, Cohn is fast. He's just had some really bad luck in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can work his way up to a top 10 for this race, salvage some points. That's the nice thing about it being early in the season. You can afford to not have the best race right now. Just salvage what you can, get the points to carry forward, and do what you really realistically can do. But up front, it is a lot less patient. I asked in the first heat whether or not Jose Barrios was just kind of riding around waiting for the right opportunity. In this race, I don't think anybody's waiting. Jeff Schnackle, P2, he is getting hungry up and down the track, trying to find wherever that door may have opened. Jay Bast running in the podium. Great run for him. And then Barrios, a little bit out of line there in the chicane. Going to open up the door for Matt Thompson. He's going to put the Challenger very briefly up into P4. Maybe not going to be able to keep it. Might actually hemorrhage another position here, as here comes Mr. Andrew Bailing, the inside of him. So looks like that chicane can really be make or break. If you do not get the good line through there, you're going to sacrifice a ton of speed. And to the inside, contact is going to be Andrew Bailing to the quarter panel. Makes the move, maybe scares him into it. Press square to intimidate. Around he goes.
Wow, and the postman only rings once that time, and my goodness, Thompson deciding to get out of the way there, and Barrios, you saw him dropping on that run between Tamburello and Villeneuve, and that was another slowdown. So Barrios having a hard time keeping it between the lines here. We saw him pick up a slowdown in the last race as well. So Imola is kind of one of those tracks. The racing doesn't take place exclusively between the white lines, so you got to learn the track limits, got to learn where the 1Xs and the slowdowns are very important to get a good lap time around here. And Barrios getting bitten over and over again by slowdowns. And here is a quick look at an incident that is Ballant there with a little bit of smooch in the left rear going up the hill there out of Tosa, and some damage there. You saw him nose into that barrier. So no bueno there. And there is another look at it. Drivers behind go evasive, and doink, we see that hood get loose there on that Mustang. So that is too bad. Just a slight little kiss there, enough to upset that car and send it into the barrier. Another look at it there.
Oh no.
Or is it, oh my goodness.
Scenes, I believe.
Oh, holy moly. And we better get the medics down there. That was a big one. Sancinelli managing to push his way through there. And so that's about the mid-20s that action took place. And you'd never like to come over a blind corner and see headlights facing your way. And that is exactly what happened to the driver, nailing that 197.
I believe that was Jeff Bernard coming down the hill. Just couldn't quite react to it in time. We're on board now with Brandon Smith. He's the one that goes for a 180 spin, and then there goes Mr. Bernard and that Haviline machine, just a head-on impact. Nothing really anybody could do. I mean, it's such a cluster of cars, can't really divert your course in any meaningful way there. But up front, all that's going on. And how about this for third place on the curbs, almost through the grass? Jose Barrios going to take third place back from Jay Bast, and he's got the pace. He's just had maybe a little bit too much pace, overdriving that car a little bit tonight, and now looking to try to reclaim those positions he's lost, but way too shallow on entry. It's going to cost him a ton of time. Gives Jay Bass an opportunity to scoot away there, and no contact between Mr. Barrios and Andrew Bailing. That is going to be one heck of a hit. The concrete wall, no buffer there. No tires, no safer barrier, no arm code, just concrete. Maybe terminal damage. Let's take another look at the SMB replay here. On board with Bailing. It's hard to tell. I mean, he kind of maybe came across the nose there, but it's hard to place fault.
Yeah, it sure looked like Bailing moved over on him there, and I'm stewarding is way above my pay grade out here, but keep an eye on Bailing here as we come up to that little kink, and the other car there has the right to be anywhere on the track that they want, and sure looked like Bailing moved over there, and he was the one that is paying for it as you see him entering the pits. Pretty hard hit into the barrier there. It looks like he may need to get some repairs. So Bailing's race, the wheels have fallen off, and look at this fighting here, and looking at Swayer. Got Matt Thompson behind him, and Labano sniffing around back there, Mosey and more. Quite a quite a cluster of cars right there. I don't want to overuse that word because it'll make something else slip out. But in any event, it is one cluster after another. This race a lot rougher, a lot more elbows out than the first race, as these drivers, I guess, get feeling a little loose.
Yeah, when you're driving this hard, you're going to get loose, and these tires are not very forgiving. Once you get into a 4-tire slide, they heat up. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The tires get warm, it makes you slide, so when you slide, they get warm again. You really got to back it off once that cycle begins, and I tell you, JR, I don't see a lot of these guys backing off for anything. This second race has been far and away more aggressive than the first one. The first one, we had a few incidents, but it seemed like they were kind of born out of genuine kind of miscalculations or just wrong place, wrong time. This is just, these guys are going for it. Full send into the corners, 2 wide, 3 wide, cutting across each other's nose. They want to get these points, but they got to be there at the end to get those points. So that'll be something to remember if these guys are wise. But John Casey in P30, this little field back here getting loose again. That rear end stepping out. The setup may not have hit the mark tonight, JR, because they are struggling.
Yeah, little kind of NASCAR style fender tapping going on out here as well. So the intimidation being put to work here, and look at Swayer going down the inside of Barrios, and you said it, man. The Barrios working these tires maybe a little bit too hard, not able to find the grip when he needs it. But look at those two battle. That is still Swayer and Barrios side by side. Neil Kemp sniffing around back behind Matt Thompson as well. More side by side action heading into Villeneuve. What could possibly go wrong? Oh my goodness, a trip into the kitty litter is imminent, but no, they managed to stay side by side all the way through the Villeneuve chicane. Here we go into Tosa as the side by side battling continues. That's Barrios on the outside, Kemp sniffing around on the inside. Now we're with Thompson looking back at Labano, Ron Wolf, and oh my goodness, look at that timing tower. The more orange, the better. And we have got orange. Orange, you glad you tuned in to SMB tonight.
Oh boy, that rivals some of the puns that are the top of all time here on these broadcasts. But in the meantime, Michael Brennan, he was involved in a scuffle there in race 1. He's holding on to her, P12, top half of the field. Can't complain too much about that, especially when the race has been as chaotic as this one. I believe that is going to be Super Dave Moore you see in that white and red Mustang further back. But how about this? Bit of a bold dive there from Fabian Zweier. He is one of those names, man. I swear, we talk about him every week. He's always a top 5 contender. I'm not sure he's won a race in my time commentating this league. He's come so close so many times. Maybe this will be the year, but on board with Charlie Hosey, this is what he's seeing out of his windshield. He's seeing Matt Thompson get loose. He's seeing cars dive down to the apex. He's seeing cars dive to his outside. This is about a brown fire suit moment.
Yeah, and somebody's spitting or doing something out their windows. You see those wipers come on, and that is a battle for P6. It's Barrios from Kemp, from Thompson, from Wolf, from Labano, and you know who is looking at their relative with a big smile on his face? Matt Malone has a 5-second gap behind, currently running in P4. So Malone, as we were thinking might happen, has pushed his way all the way up into P4, and all that fighting behind him has given him a huge cushion behind, and he only has half a second ahead to Jay Bast and plenty of time to do something with it with 9 minutes remaining in this one. So keep an eye on Matt Malone. He has not quite cranked up the wick yet, Andre, but we talked about this before. Malone sure appeared to save his tires for the end in the last race. He may be doing that now, so he's certainly in a position to challenge Bast for the podium.
He definitely is. We got one car off the track. That is David Finch in the 35. He's up in the grass on the outside. Have to take a look at the SMB replay, see exactly what happened to Mr. Finch. He's on the outside there. It's a good line, but just a little bit too much on exit, as my old buddy Carlos would say. Too much beans on corner exit. Gets the rear end a little bit slideways, and it was a good save, but unfortunately losing some time. Now this battle right here, how about Levi Powell, 103? This is only for 24th position, but this is something you're going to come to expect from this league, JR. Doesn't matter if it's for the lead, 10th place, 15th place, or dead last. These guys race like every single position is the win. They love the battle. I mean, a lot of these guys are in it for the fun, and that's what matters to them. And so they're going to get aggressive. They're going to battle, and that's what they have fun doing. So up front, Kevin Parrish still leads the way. Jeff Schnackle, P2, not able to get the move done quite yet. He has just been kind of following in the tire tracks, line for line, getting that nose out just a little bit on the straightaway, getting some cool air to that radiator, making sure you don't overheat. But actually, with a bit of a slingshot maneuver, he will pull up to the door. It's the suboptimal line. He's on the outside of the chicane. He's going to have to drive it in deep. Not quite going to get there. He's going to go into a four-wheel slide right back to P2. That was a bold move, but that's what I mean, JR. Passing is so tough at this track. You've got to try something.
Yeah, and you saw Schnackle snacking on those sausage curves right there, heading into Tamburello. And here is a replay of Malone. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch these Mustangs handle those sausage curves. If you were in a Formula car or even a GT3 car, hitting those things would put you into a low Earth orbit. Didn't do Schnackle any favors, but he managed to keep it on the road and still hangs about 7/10 behind Parrish. So that battle very much alive, and Malone has gotten past Jay Bass. It is now Parrish from Schnackle from Malone, and the gap from Schnackle to Malone about 3 seconds. Right now, Malone not really showing the kind of pace to be able to crack that down, but Matt probably going to be happy with that P3. And Parrish up front, by the way, has set the fastest lap of this session, 2 minutes, 0.9. And a couple people within about a tenth of him, but Parrish showing the pace right now with about 6 minutes or so remaining in our second 20-minute sprint.
And in the meantime, Matt Malone also reeling in just a little bit, closed the gap from about 3.5 down to 2.8 to the leader. So not a lot, and if he wants to get there, he's going to have to pick that pace up a little bit. But I say that, but he actually just lost quite a bit of time there through that portion of the track. Not sure entirely what happened to cost him that, but Matt Malone is really falling through the running order. What is going on? P4, he's lost over 2 seconds now. Maybe just an off-track excursion with a slowdown, if I was a betting man, is probably what happened. But either way, he lost a ton of time. That may be all she wrote for a hopes of a race win, but he can still fight for the podium, and fight he will. Sliding through the corner, trying to get back at Jay Bass, and then here's the Hornet's Nest behind him. Fabian Zweier, Jose Barrios, Neil Kemp, and it looks like lap car of Jeff Bernard going to get out of the throttle, let everybody go by. And the most aggressive driver on the night, Jose Barrios, keeping that title alive here. He is still side by side.
Yeah, Barrios driving the wheels off that thing, and the pressure from Barrios looks like it may have forced Kemp into a slowdown, which you just saw him serve there. Those yellow flags there that you see on our timing tower usually mean a slowdown penalty. Not 100% accurate, but usually a pretty good indication if you see that, and a position swap that somebody has had to serve a slowdown. But yeah, Barrios absolutely driving the wheels off that Mustang. It's worked for him some of the time. Oh my goodness, there's a little checkup and some contact there down in, that is Aqua Minerale. Barrios has had a mixed bag here tonight. Sometimes that hard driving has served him well, and sometimes it has cost him. And overall, I'd kind of say it's cost him. He had been running in a podium position, and you see him right now sitting all the way down in P7, and pretty similar to the previous race.
And we are now following along with the amateur leader, P15, Freddie Weaver. He's got a bit of a gap over the next competition for that division. Scott Brooks going to be P2 in the amateurs, 22nd overall. Little ways back, about 10 seconds, give or take. In the meantime, though, it has been a good night for Freddie Weaver. He's one of those drivers that towards the end of last season, I don't know what he found, I don't know what he did, but he found something, and he just kind of figured it out. He went from generally being kind of outside the top 20 to being a top 10 contender some weeks, and then just really improving over the season. He's been putting in the work, and it's paying off. He's always been a very clean, very respectable driver. Now he's finding the pace to go along with it. And we have a bit of a lap car situation for Mr. Freddie Weaver. Jeff Bernard still off the pace. He's going to duck down to the inside. That little bit of a checkup is going to open up the door, though, for Mark Royce. Got to get to the inside here through this chicane. Had the optimal line, and he will make the move work. And we do have a car off track. I believe that may have been David Fernandez. That is Fernandez in the kitty litter, but what an eventful sequence of turns that was.
Yeah, and as it always is, Imola is such a fantastic track, and we'll get a little replay of that. And man, oh man, there's Fernandez turning. That time he rear-ended the car ahead. That was enough to upset the car. And like I was saying earlier, talking about that Radillac, you really have to commit to a line, and mid-course corrections, the car is going to ignore it. Little bumps and all that momentum, and the car is just going to rotate away from you. You saw that happen to Fernandez right there. But really great racing out here, and I'll tell you, after watching these guys, I kind of want to sit down and throw down a few laps in these things, because it looks like they're having a blast. And a couple of black flags here. By the way, it looks like Hosey has picked up some kind of penalty. He'll need to roll down pit lane. Cone as well. Mark Cone's troubles continue, and guess what? He hates Imola. It is official. After all that hard work he did to pull himself out of the cellar, has picked up another penalty out of lucky or unlucky P13. As you see Cone entering the pit lane there to serve that. So my goodness, Cone. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Just a bit outside there, and that is the 116 car. Did I see that right? Oh, that was Cone. Okay, so Cone missing his brake marker there, and a huge rear hit there. So yeah, that penalty richly deserved, I gotta say. But we are under a white flag right now. It is Parrish from Snackle from Malone, and look at Malone. He's got oh no, I take that back. That is Snackle and Parrish that are close. Malone's got about a 5-second gap ahead to Snackle. So if Snackle wants to snack on that P1, he's got to make something happen. He's got to make it happen right now.
Yeah, Matt Malone, a little bit outside the catbird seat. Not quite there, unless absolute disaster happens. And speaking of disaster, how about that second place? Jeff Snackle getting a little bit aggressive with it. And he's going to go through the sand, gives up about 1 second. Was 2/10, now 1.2. And he only has about half a lap to make that back up. Meantime, Matt Malone and Jay Bass, this battle has not ended. I know that Jay Bass would absolutely love a podium finish in this event. He has been getting so fast recently, and he wants stats to show for it. But up front, a little bit of lap traffic for our leader. Can't quite make out who that is. And the 228 machine, not quite off pace. This is the most frustrating situation, JR, when you got lap traffic, but they're not really that slow. You know, they're actually kind of on pace, so you don't really know what's going to go on. You're going to try to pass them. You're going to ride behind them. What are you going to do? Well, you're just going to ride behind them, and you're going to win the race. There is the checkered flag for Kevin Parrish, the two-time. He got the sweep, Heat 1, Heat 2. Jeff Schnackle going to fall in P2. Matt Malone with a podium. after a hard-fought race, and Jay Bast, P4, not to be forgotten. Fabian Zweier as well gets himself a top 5 on the night. But what an end to that race. There was something to look at all throughout the field, pretty much the entirety of the last 5 laps there, JR.
Yeah, great competition. And as you said, that is the beauty of a lot of league racing, is that people are happy fighting for P20 like it's fighting for P1. We saw that up and down the field here, and man, oh man, tip of the hat and sympathies to Jeff Schnackle. He had something going there. He was within striking distance of Parrish on that last lap, washes out of Aqua Minerale, picks up that slowdown, and was a little slow burning that off. And I was a little worried that he was going to pick up a penalty and let Malone into P2, but Schnackle hangs on. So it's Parrish from Schnackle, from Malone for your pros. Your AMs are Thompson, Hosey, and Royce. And then Dreamweaver there in P14 overall is P1 of your challenge class. And that just scrolled at a terrible time for me. Then it's Brooks and Merle Eschman. And we'll have the rest of those results for you here in a second. But, folks, we sure hope that you enjoyed this doubleheader here at Imola. And we have got a great schedule ahead for these cars. And listen to this list. Brands Hatch, Mosport, Red Bull Ring, Miami, Bathurst. Circle that one on your calendar, especially if you like to collect body parts. Road America, Willow Springs, Silverstone, and the Green Hell itself, the Nordschleife VLN configuration. So we are going to have a fantastic season here with these cars, and make sure and mark that down on your calendar. In fact, while you're sitting here watching Slow Motion Broadcasting, go ahead and subscribe to SMB. Hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action. And let's take a quick peek outside and see if there's anybody waiting to chat with us. And by golly, yeah, we'll give them some. They're out doing donuts and smack talking to each other over comms, I'm sure. So we'll give them a minute to finish that and come in and chat with us if they would like. But we'll go ahead and give you those final results now. There we go. And it is Parrish from Schnackle, from Malone, your top 3, and your top 3 in pro. Then Jay Bast and Fabian Zweier will round out the top 5. Then it's Barrios, Kemp, Wolf, Matt Thompson in P9 overall, P1 for the challengers. Then Fench and Brennan. Mark Royce will come in P12. That is P2 for the challengers. And Freddie Dreamweaver in P1 in AMS, and that is 13 overall. Gazenda will round out your challenge pro in P14. Then it's Labano rounding out the top 15.
And outside of the top 15, it is going to be Ed Santinelli in that number 180. Dave Blair, P17. Levi Powell, just to get through the field here. Behind Levi Powell, it is going to be David Fernandez. Don't let that finishing position distract you. He had a good run, just a late race mistake. Jeff Andrus, P20. Mark Cohn, probably the most unfortunate race I think I've ever seen anybody have in the entire history of covering this league. He's going to bring it home at P21. The watchman is going to have to watch the field go by. Mike Neekum going to be P22. Scott Brooks, 23rd. Merle Eschman, 24. Andy Cossack going to be P25. 26, Colin Olson. Brian Kennedy, P27. 28th, John Casey. And running out the top 30, it is going to be Charlie Hosey and Andrew Bailey.
All right, we'll keep it rolling with Tom Wendt in P31, then David Moore, Brandon Smith, Joe Sacchetti, Andy Bell will round out your top 35. Then it's Jeff Besnard down 1 lap, and Taylor Ballant will bring up the rear P37 plus 4 laps. And I got to say, looking at that with this huge field on Imola, very difficult track in a 20-minute race, it is incredible that 35 of the 37 cars were on the lead lap. Fantastic stuff. But let's go ahead and get some, have some words with some of our drivers. And we'll go ahead and start with Kevin Parrish. Kevin swept both races here at Imola. Great drive out there, Kevin. Looks like you got the fast lap as well with a 2-minute 9:20. So fantastic drive to open the season. And you're speaking to JR, by the way. I'm a little green on these Mustangs, so I'm going to be asking maybe some basic questions. But talk to me a little bit about tire management, because it really looked like in the second half of these races, some of the drivers that were driving a little bit too hard were kind of exposed, maybe getting too much heat in those rears.
Yeah, I can't ask for a much better start of the season, can we? Yeah, this car definitely, the tire management is a crucial part of it. You tend to see me kind of do a little better in the second half than the first half because of it. Yeah, smooth as fast for sure.
And pretty good battle there. You had kind of constant pressure from Schnackle, and it looked like he might have a cracky, he might have something going. But as you saw in your rear view, he washed out of Aqua Minerale and picked up a slowdown there. But talk to us a little bit about that battle between you and Schnackle, with Matt Malone kind of looming in the background as well.
Yeah, Jeff kept me on my toes. Jose as well in the first race. Yeah, I think they actually maybe had a little bit of overspeed on me, and it just came down to track positioning and smart defense.
Well, and as you mentioned before, tire management as well. Barrios was flogging the hell out of that car in both of the races, and he had moments where that was serving him, but in the long run, it didn't look like it served him that well. So congratulations again, Kevin. Looking forward to seeing you out here more as we continue in this season of AMS. And as we conclude, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Always got to shout out my wife, letting me do these type of things.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Mrs. Parrish, for letting Kevin off the leash long enough to take a trip to Italy and show his skills in this Mustang. And again, thanks for stopping by and chatting with us, Kevin, and we will see you next week at Brands Hatch.
Let's keep it going. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right. And Andre, why don't you have a quick word here with our P2 runner, Jeff Schnackle?
Mr. Schnackle, you got a copy?
Sir, how's it going? Good evening.
It's going pretty good, and seems to be going pretty good out of your camp as well. P2 on the night. Really good speed. I mean, you were right there with the leader all night long. For a while there, I thought you might have been a little bit quicker and you were just kind of playing the patience game, but then it looked more and more like overtaking was just really difficult to do at this track. Tell me a little bit about your experience behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, the car was super quick. We definitely had the pace to stick with Kevin. But yeah, just like you said, passing around here is just super tough. The one time I almost had him going into one, just clipped the grass on the right-hand side, and that was that over. I think that was probably my one opportunity there for the second race. But it was great racing around here, though. It was a lot of fun.
It definitely looked fun. We had a lot of fun up in the booth watching you guys duke it out. And one question I want to ask is, with this format being a little bit different than usual, having that first heat race and the second heat race, it's the same amount of racing overall, but did that little bit of a break in between kind of change the way you approach this at all?
Yeah, definitely find myself pushing a lot more for sure, especially with the 220 minutes, because you get a fresh set of tires, right, and fresh fuel. So honestly, you can kind of push the whole entire race without really having to do any lift and coast or take care of the tires or anything like that. So it's if anything, it honestly makes it a little more grueling doing the 220-minute sessions, to be honest.
Definitely kind of gets you up on the wheel for sure. I know we have a couple more races this season that are going to follow this same format. Is that something you're looking forward to, or are you excited to get back to the regular status quo next week?
Honestly, if the racing is this close, I am ready for the 220 minutes all season long. Pushing the whole time is super fun. It's obviously taxing, but it's a great time out there. It's so much fun.
All right. Well, congratulations on the podium, and I'm glad you had a good time. We certainly had a good time watching you. Before we let you go, Mr. Schnackle, anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, I got to shout out to my dog again. He's chilling right here next to me. He's been my good luck charm last season and this season, so shout out to him and shout out to the wife.
All righty. Well, again, thank you for your time. We'll be seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, that is your P2 overall and pro finisher, Jeff Schnackle. And got one more waiting outside to talk with us, and that is Matt Thompson. broke into the top 10, finished in P9, P1 in class. And Matt, you finished with a lot of pro drivers behind you. So pretty good job on your pace. And I got to say, the one person driver who looked ready to challenge you, Mark Cohn, just had one bad luck incident after another, had a terrible race out here. And you just kind of had to keep it clean and let that P1 come to you. So what'd you think of racing out here at Imola?
Imola's a lot of fun. It's slippy. It's a slippery track, low grip. Those tracks tend to favor me. I practice on them pretty regularly. I like this one. I like Brands Hatch. Starts were in my favor. Practice a little bit of feathering the clutch with my car here in Oklahoma in the winter, so that helps probably a little bit. Just listen to the tires and hope it doesn't let go.
Yeah, too right. And it looked track temps were pretty modest, actually. You had some fairly kind track temps, never got much over about the mid 80s, but looked pretty greasy out there. So talk to us a little bit about your strategy in handling the tires in these things. It looks like the rears particularly are susceptible to going away early if you're not careful.
Yeah, I've been working on a setup that's pretty pointy, so I do a lot of trail braking, neutral steer to try not to overwork the tires too much. And the setup the tires seem to last pretty well with that. But yeah, it was mostly just in the first race. It was just hang on to the lead pack. The second race, we got a little more interesting with the guys coming up from behind. But yeah, it was just try not to overdo it too much and keep it on the track.
All right, kids, we'll bookmark those comments about driving style and setup, saving the tires on these Mustangs. That is some good advice from a fast driver here, Matt Thompson, who finished into the top 10 and P1 in class. So congratulations again on a fantastic drive. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Oh, big shout out to Frito Sport. I mean, he's running the league now, but also just the team he's put together, people we get out and practice and work on racecraft every week, and it made a huge difference in my racing. So huge shout out to Ed and the rest of the Frito Sport team.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for stopping by and sharing your thoughts about the race with us, and we look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch next week.
Oh, sounds great.
All right, take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Matt Thompson, your winner in the Challenger class. And folks, we have got, as I've told you to subscribe before and hit that notification icon to not miss any action. We have got nonstop action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Tomorrow night, Sim Racers Group F3 goes down under to the Bend, and you're going to want to join yours truly for that. It's going to be a fantastic race down in Australia. Then on Saturday, Weekend Warriors Formula Vs will compete at Montreal. Sunday, the Weekend Warriors SRF cars will also be at Montreal. Then XSLR will feature GT3 action from the Daytona Road Course. There's something coming up there. I was coming across my feed, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Also, the Liberty Bells will be competing at VIR on Sunday. And 1 week from tonight, join Andre and I for the next round of AMS, where we will be drifting the night away at Brands Hatch. So that is going to wrap it up tonight. I am J.R. Gregory. On behalf of myself, my partner, Andre Dirt, Grandbouche, our producer, Joshua Wilkie, and everyone here at SMB, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and we'll see you back here real soon.